Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to canesware.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Canesware today.
It's back. The green is running.
Bobby, you know, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of FINS Talk today on the FINS Talk Sports Network. I'm your host, Bobby Finstock, not joined yet by Fish Tank Hank. Waiting on him. Should check on that, but that's all good. We appreciate everybody tuning in, whether you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. Thank you all for watching. Man, got a lot to talk about today. Huge game this weekend between the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens 12-3, Miami 11-4. This could be the fight for the AFC number one seed. So it is such an important game. Miami, of course, beating Baltimore last season after a huge mega comeback. And the Dolphins obviously beating the Dallas Cowboys last week, getting that monkey of can't beat a over 500 team, getting that off their back. So going to be huge, especially for tomorrow. Courtney, Fins up, Rob, Aladino, good afternoon, sir. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's see if we could message. Let's see. I won't worry about that. All right. Let me go ahead and pop this in here. But the Dolphins are playoff bound. Finally, we do not have to wait until the final week of the season. We don't have to wait till the final game. We don't have to wait for another team to lose or anything like that, to wish and hope, pray that we make the playoffs. We're going to do it. The Dolphins secured that, beating the Cowboys, clinching the playoffs with 2 weeks to spare. Is there something to play for? Absolutely. But no matter what happens the next 2 weeks, the Dolphins are in. The Fins are in. But job's not finished. Reason why I say job's not finished, I had this up here for Fish Tank to answer to or to talk about. But since he's not, we'll start it off. And I will say to those watching who would like to come on, you're more than welcome to. But Fins are in, but the job's not finished. Steve Malloy of Real Talk Fins Talk with Rob of DolphinsThirsty.com. Again, guys, if you're thirsty for Dolphins content, go check out DolphinsThirsty.com. They were on Real Talk Fins Talk, and Steve asked a great question to Rob, and I wrote it down because it really was a great question. And I'm paraphrasing here. I could be getting it wrong at some point, but it's basically, now that the Dolphins have secured the playoffs, should they consider resting? Courtney, I will. I'll drop you one right now. Your Fish Tank Hank for today. I love it. Let me pop that up here. But think about that, guys, and answer that question there in the comments. Courtney, you could hold it until you pop in. But it was a great question. Should the Dolphins consider resting some players, because we are dealing with injuries? Should they consider resting some players before the playoffs so they're healthy for the playoffs? For me, I wouldn't do that. If they could play, they have to play. Why? Because we're still fighting for the AFC East. As crazy as that sounds, we're still fighting for the AFC East division title. We are home field advantage is still available for Miami. Okay. The Dolphins have to beat Baltimore on Sunday and beat Buffalo, and they secure the number 1 seed, the AFC East, and also the wild card bye. That would be great for players who are coming up, like Jalen Waddle. He's not playing this week, but a bye in the wild card gives those players a chance who are set. Jalen Ramsey ended up on the injury report this week, gives them a chance to heal up before the divisional round. That's why I think, for me, if they could play, they play. But now, if they had like Waddle, where it's an injury where it's like, hey, man, we don't want to risk it getting a little more exaggerated, because we are going, okay. But no, none of this, oh, we're going to rest them this week because we're just focused on the playoffs. No, there's still work to do here. Because if you go into wild card, you got wild card, division, you're asking the Dolphins not only to win 2 more games, 2, 4, 5, 6, you're asking them to win. You want them to be able to have full set to win the next 2 weeks, take the bye at the wild card, and be fresh for the divisional round, division, conference, God willing, the Super Bowl. All right. Ralphie boy, what's up, Ralph? I'm lonely today, but we'll get Courtney up in here in just a second. I did drop her a message, so she's getting herself ready, and I'm excited to have her on. She could be Fish Tank Hank for today, and I'll reach out to Hank afterwards. But yeah, what do you guys think? I believe Rob said the same thing. I believe he thinks the same way. I know he put in here no rest for the weary. I agree. Again, I think Miami is still fighting for a spot. My family is here. I know you would be, Rob. Momentum can't be stopped. Absolutely. Let them rest in February and June. You're damn right. You're damn right. I don't know. I am going to message Fish Tank. He hopefully pops in during the show, but I'll message him after the show for sure. But he is a popular man and very busy. Likes to have fun. So hopefully all is well. But we got the one and only Courtney in the house, Doll. She is my hero this morning or this afternoon. It's morning for me still. Let me go ahead and I don't know if I have anything for guest. But oh wait, there we go. That's okay. I'll put that. There she is. What's up, girl?
I was meal prepping. Well, have no fear. Doll is here. With makeup, her hair's a wreck. I just woke up. I'm meal prepping. I'm here.
I had a long, thanks, Hank. Hopefully everything's good. But it was a long night for me, Tati and myself. We were my in-laws went to Puerto Rico yesterday, so they help us with the kids and getting the baby. They all have their own little routine. Well, that routine was kind of messed up, and the baby was up late till night. Like it was 2, 3, 4 in the morning. She didn't want to sleep, so I had to carry her out. Finally, she knocked out. Oh. And it was just a long night. But I'm here, ready to talk some Fins. I was just talking about a great topic or a question Steve asked Rob on Real Talk Fins Talk on Tuesday night. And it's a great question because I can understand why it was asked. Should Miami, now that we've clinched the playoffs, consider resting some of their starters so that way they could be healthy enough in the playoff run? I'll tell you my answer if you didn't hear it. I said if they could play, even if they're hurt, if they could play, they need to play because the job's not done. Right. We got to get that. To me, AFC East and the number 1 seed is still there, especially AFC East. We know we can get that, if everything works out. But the AFC, the number 1 seed, you got to win out, and you got it. So to me, it's important that if you could play, unless it's some bad injury, if you could play, you play. Am I right or wrong?
No, I agree. I think that if the job was done, say our last our last opponent wasn't the Bills, and it wasn't a divisional game that could be for the division, then I say rest them. If it's like a nobody in the NFC that really wouldn't affect our playoff run either way, sure, rest them. But it's not. It's a divisional opponent, probably our biggest opponent right now, who I think fans can all collectively say our biggest rivals right now are the Bills, and they're still in the hunt. They're still nipping at our tails. So if they're healthy enough to play, I think they play, because the job isn't done, as you said. We have to do it. It's not a cakewalk. I think if the playoff picture worked out a little differently, you could sit them, but it just didn't, and we have to play and compete.
No, I 1,000% agree, and I think most Dolphin fans do, because again, as I was saying, was that, you know, it's so important, especially right now with everybody's roster is banged up. Everybody's roster is teetering on being injured and out of the game. But it's so important for Miami, especially as they're contending with not only Buffalo for the AFC East, and especially if they went out, we're golden, but the Ravens for that number 1 seed, to get not only home field advantage, which Miami have only lost 1 game this season, but also that wild card bye. You take that week off, everybody gets to rest, everybody gets to get at least close to 100% to make that final stretch run. If you go to the wild card, you're asking Miami not only to beat Baltimore, but to beat Buffalo, to beat Indianapolis maybe, or Cincinnati, or Cleveland maybe, unless Cleveland gets the number 1 seed. Which, credit to Cleveland, I mean, that's a story to watch over there. But you're asking Miami to do a lot. Yeah. I would just say, for me, I think it's so important for to get that wild card bye, give them that week off, and get ready for whoever comes into town in the divisional round.
I agree. I think I think most Dolphin fans are on the same page. I really haven't heard many that said to rest. I think we all agree, like, we need to go out and compete.
Absolutely. Do you see here? Make sure I don't miss out anybody here. Ray Finkel in the house. Hate them Bills. Who doesn't? I agree with you. Orlando Marvin.
Here's a fun story. My back neighbor, directly, the back of his fence, he uses the back of my fence as the back of his fence. Direct back neighbor is a Bills fan. And as soon as I found out, there's no more other than a neighborly wave. We don't our kids go to school together. They are in the same grade. One of them, they're in the same grade. They are not friends. As soon as I found out a Bills fan, I was like, yeah, can't do it. Sorry. Maybe
can't even pretend. Can't even pretend.
If you need it. Well, you know what he did after I moved in? He has a Bills flag now on his back porch that faces the back of my house. So I think that was done intentionally.
Oh, okay. So it's neighborly war going on. Some warfare.
I can't lose to a neighbor. We can't. I can't ever just slide with a Bills fan. Now it's personal. I get it. And that's why that Week 18 matchup is going to be so important. Not only because we need the AFC East. You don't want to face your neighbor now. Now you'll just be staying in your house for the next couple weeks. And just smile into their back, they'll look out their back and just see me smile and look crazy.
Oh man! So you see here.
Hold on, Courtney. That's fine.
That's right. Just start trouble. It's all good. So yeah, as we were saying, the Dolphins did clinch a playoff spot. They defeated the Cowboys last week, which was amazing. I don't care what anybody says. I know Cowherd was saying before the game we're going to get blown out. Then after the game, he's like, "Oh, you beat the Cowboys. You beat yourselves." Blah blah blah. Whatever.
I think his viewership is low, and he knows that if he talks smack about the Dolphins, our base is coming after him. And I think that we need to remember that and just
exactly
talk internally amongst ourselves, but don't share, or comment on his videos, because he's using us to boost his own platform, and we shouldn't let him do that anymore.
You guys hear that? Note what Courtney just said. Let's see how much he stops then. It's the second straight playoff appearance though by Miami. Of course, last year was different. Miami started off great, 8-3, then lost 5 in a row, kind of fell into the playoffs. 9-8, fell into the playoffs. Same record, 9-8 as Brian Flores, but fell into the playoffs nonetheless. Of course, they lost.
Right.
But fast forward a year later, 11-4, clinched the playoff with 2 weeks to go. We saw where this team was 2 seasons ago with Flores, where it was last season with Mike McDaniel in his first year. Courtney, how great is it to see what this team has evolved to? We've seen this team for many years. We know the struggles. No one could tell us better. That no one could tell us better You have something you have something to throw up.
I would like it. Listen, I'm prepared. I didn't prepare for this pod, guys. So it's fine. Just
It's all good. It's all good.
go with it.
But to know where this team came from to where it is right now, that even if, let's say, the running game, which has been great this season, stalls out and only has 50, 70, 60 yards, they still win the game. Our quarterback, who's an MVP candidate, has a mediocre, whatever you want to call it, game. They still win the game. Our defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets. Defense is playing at a high level. To see where this team has evolved to just 2 seasons ago with Flores to right now, how great is that to you?
I think it's fantastic. I think we all want more as Dolphin fans, but I think one thing that the Dolphins have found is consistency. We're not undefeated by any means, but if you remember last season, it was like winning streak, losing streak, winning streak, losing streak. It was like very high and low. And I think this year it's been more consistent. There haven't been these wild up and down streaks. It's been it's more consistent, I'd say, which is great for us, especially like, losing once at home, I think is a great, I guess streak to have, but it builds the confidence in the team that we're not high and low. Which Dolphin team are we going to get this week? Are we going to be on or off? And I think that is really a testament to Mike McDaniel and the team around, because they've really stepped up. And when one unit is maybe lacking, everybody else seems to be rising to the occasion. And it really seems like they're gelling. It's a little more cohesive on all sides of the ball. And I think that's what we were looking for. That was a missing piece in what's over the past few years. It was like, oh, we need to get the great quarterback, but we really didn't have a running game. Or we had Ricky and Ronnie, but we really didn't have a great quarterback. We didn't really have a passing game. Oh, we have to go out and get Brandon Marshall and these flashy receivers, but it still was like nothing really gelled together. We had pieces, but that's what they were. They were pieces that didn't fit together in the puzzle. And I think this year, all the pieces are fit. It's a puzzle. It's almost a complete puzzle. And I think that's what was missing. Like, not the big names, not the flashy, just everybody grinding, working hard, and seemingly working for each other. I feel like the atmosphere, and talking to Shannon Needham, she confirmed, like, off the field.
Awesome show, by the way. Great job.
She killed it.
Yeah.
Off the field, these guys are gelling. These guys are actually winning. They're locked in. Like she shared, like Nick will be at practice all day, and on the drive home, he's still on the iPad going over things and going over plays, and they're locked in, but they're a unit together. The fact that Jalen Ramsey just came in this year, and she already said that he is the leader of that defense off the field. He's the leader of the group chats. He's, it's just, he came in, bought in, and they're together. I think that that's what was missing.
And that's so true, because even look at what this team was last year, and you saw the difference even in our quarterback, Tua, with Mike McDaniel to bring him out of that shell. And then you see him what he is this year. And what you saw, I wasn't able to, I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet, but
Ever?
Some of the clips I saw, no, I've watched Hard Knocks. I just didn't watch the last episode, I meant. Sorry. My error in speaking.
Off air.
Apologize. But something I've always talked about was the leadership. We need a leader. And then what you saw from the last game when he was saying, he called his own play. He said, don't look at Tyreek. He told the coach, don't look at Tyreek. You're giving it away. Look at Braxton. And they did. And I mean, that's the growth. And that's what McDaniel has awakened in Tua. And then you talk about the leadership. Tyreek, what he brought to this offense last year, what he continued to do this season, but Tua's kind of taken that mantle. And then you look at what Jalen Ramsey has been able to do, and how this defense has really come together and woken up. Everything you're saying about off the field, it translates to on the field. You're seeing it, but now you're confirming it by what you hear and what you're seeing on TV, but also what you hear from your interview with Shannon. You know now, this is not individual. This is not an individual player. It's like, stat grabbing and whatever. No, this is a team unit knowing what the ultimate goal is, which is to win the Lombardi Trophy.
Yep.
and they're all focused on. They know they could get there. They're not hearing the outside noise. They're not giving a damn. We care because we're out here, and so we know, and you get you get a little butthurt over people talking trash on your team. You're like, wait, look at what we've done. Those guys don't give a damn. They only care about winning.
Right.
When they lose, they go, look, yeah, we lost, but we could get better because they learn from what they do. That's what's different about this team. They hold each other accountable. They hold the coaches accountable. And that's what's awesome about this team. That's what I love about this team compared to last year's team or the year before that. You see it on the field. And it's easy to win, lose, or draw. And we know we all want them to win. Win, lose, or draw. We're all very heavily invested than we ever been before because we know how great this team is and how great they are off the field.
Yeah, well, and look at the teams that are struggling this year. It seems like you can tell they're not cohesive. They're not a cohesive unit. Like the Steelers, for example, George Pickens. There's a lot of controversy there. They're not having a winning record. It seems like they're not gelling. The Chiefs, Kadarius Toney and Patrick Mahomes seem like they hate each other. There's a lot of friction in-house, and instead of coming together as a team and being like, let's fix this, it just seems like there's a lot of infighting. And if you look at a lot of the teams that are struggling this year, that's a piece that's missing, is that they're not coming together, that losing these games and the adversity is kind of tearing them apart. And I think that shows you the atmosphere, the leadership, and all of that internally. And it does affect each team on the field. Because if you looked at the Cowboys game, no, it was the Titans game that Tyreek didn't play or he got hurt. When Waddle scored or had a big play, who was the first person ready to greet him? Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek really cared about stats and being the best and I'm the number one receiver on here, he would not be the loudest person on the sideline cheering for Jalen Waddle. He would internally be like, oh, damn it. If I was out there, my 2000, but he's not. But if you see these teams that are falling apart, I think you can kind of see that there's an internal crumbling. And I really love that the Dolphins that's not happening. They lost the Titans. They came right back out against the Cowboys. Do we still need to work on some things? Absolutely. But I think that they're locked in, and I trust that they are focused enough to do it.
And I want to bring this up. And as I'm doing that, first I want to say, Ralph, my stepfather's in the house, Ralphie boy, and so happy to see him. Everybody always talks about me doing this, FINS Talk Sports Network, starting and where it's grown to. I started doing this podcasting, and of course now I do mine because of that gentleman right there. He made me a Dolphins fan. He raised me as a Dolphins fan. And he told me when we would talk all the time on the phone about the Dolphins. Bobby, you need to do a show. You need to have your own thing. And I did. And this has grown to it. So I love you. God bless you. And thank you. Everybody was telling me thank you, but thanks to him is why this is where it is right now. Love you, Ralphie boy. All right. Pulling up the Miami Dolphins schedule because I this is true, but I hate to say it and then somebody says you're wrong. But the Dolphins, when they've lost, never lost 2 in a row. They come back and they win or get on a little streak. And that's what's great about this football team. I mean, you pull this up. Let's see. Yeah, when they beat the Broncos, they got blown out by I get smacked by the Buffalo Bills and go on a 2-game winning. They win 2 in a row, then lose to the Eagles. Win. They've never lost 2 in a row. And it just tells you this team learns from their mistakes. They just can't, it's still a learning curve, but it's a pretty damn good learning curve for Miami. And I don't want to I'm not talking about next year. Don't care about next year, but you see it the growth, and you hope that translates into a huge playoff run.
Right.
And we all want a Lombardi trophy. I said at the beginning of the year, my goal for this season, or to make me happy, win a playoff game. Then I'll say, holy crap, we've moved an inch. But I think obviously we could do that.
And this season was for nothing, in my opinion.
Say that again.
I said if we don't win a playoff game, if we lose the first round, then this season was for nothing. And
absolutely. I agree.
I need that win in order for me to say, yes, this team has improved. Because in my mind, even though we've done things, if we lose the first round of the playoffs, we're no better than last year, because that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
Despite the team that we have, despite the records we're setting, we are no better than we were last year if we don't win that game. And Skylar almost did it. Skylar and that beat up team almost did it. I mean, if we had the pieces, we could have smacked the Bills, but we almost did it. We didn't do it though, and that's what matters at the end of the day. That's how I feel. I think a lot of Dolphin fans are the same way.
Absolutely. Anthony Manzano in the house. Great to see you, Anthony. He says, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'll either have the number 1 seed. I'd rather have the number 1 seed than the number 2 seed, because look how well the Browns are playing right now. That's going to be a wild card team we're going to be facing. No, the Browns is not a team anybody wants to face right now. The Browns, Joe freaking Flacco. I mean, my goodness, that they can make a movie out of that. If, obviously they don't, because that would mean they made a run, but you could make a movie out of that. That's he was sitting on his couch watching TV with his kids, and all of a sudden now he's playing. Look what he's doing with this football team. Yeah. You see something very quick, because now that you said there'll be a team we place in the playoffs, what would it look like if we finished the season today?
You also have to remember, we have to go into this thinking it don't matter who we face.
100%, because Miami is not.
Yeah, anyway, because the problem is everybody's talking about every single team except the Dolphins. Wouldn't want to see the Browns in the playoffs. Wouldn't want to see Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Wouldn't want to see the Bills in the playoffs. Not a single person that I've seen, other than a Dolphins fan, has said, I wouldn't want to see Miami in the playoffs. And I think that's the chip that we need to go into the playoffs. Like, okay, you weren't scared to face us. We're going to whoop your ass now. And then tell me if the next person's scared to face us. And I think that's the mindset that we need to have. It's kind of what I have is, okay, don't be scared to face me. But when you're crying in the dirt, like, remember those Tom Brady, after you get sacked, he would just like lay on the ground and be rejected. That's what I want every other team in the AFC to feel as we bulldoze through them.
1,000%. And Anthony says the reason why, he says, it's probably be the most physical team we face this season if we face them as the number 2 seed. So right,
was old, and the Ravens moved on from him because he started to struggle there in postseason.
Well, he's a journeyman. And Back It Up Bench podcast, great to see you again, brother. Chris, good to see you in here. But he says, Back It Up Bench says, Flacco will regress. Can't keep going on like this. Well, that's why he's a journeyman quarterback. And again, Miami's defense, as great as Cleveland's defense is, Miami's defense is played as the number 1 defense since Jalen Ramsey's come into the fold. The Dolphins' defense has been all over. And you saw what it was last week. It wasn't a high-scoring game. What was the score, according to 22-20, I think, right? I'm horrible. I think it is.
I called it. I said it was going to be a defensive game.
Yeah.
This week is going to be a huge defensive game. And I think this week is the test for our defense.
Yes.
I mean, a mobile quarterback.
I struggled with the score. I have the score. And again, I'm not confident in the score because I think it may be too high. I think this could be a low-scoring football game.
Be a defensive game.
Yeah, and again, Miami's defense, I think, could do very well against the Cleveland Browns offense. But if the season ended today, just for full disclosure for everybody, the Dolphins obviously would be the number 2 seed. They would face Indianapolis. Cleveland, as the 5th seed, would play Jacksonville. And Buffalo would play Kansas City. Baltimore, of course, have a bye. But that's if the season ends today. Keyword, ended today. It's not. So we'll see. We'll talk a lot more about this tomorrow, obviously, on postgame once everything ends. Or at least we get closer. Let's pull this up here. Let me ask you this, because, you've been on postgame with us, and you've heard differing opinions on Coach McDaniel. But as we've touched, the difference in this football team from even last year, when McDaniel's first year, what is your judgment on Coach McDaniel right now?
I think he's what this team needs or needed to come in. I think that I think he's growing and he's learning. And I think he fits what we need now. But I think that the team and him are young and he's growing. He's a new head coach. He's made some mistakes, but I think that he seems like he's correcting them. I do. It only concerns me a little bit that sometimes he's a little too much of like that fine line between like friend and coach.
Yeah.
Because as I was talking to Shannon as well, she told me that some of the players struggled with like under Flores, it was more of like a dictatorship, like one of those, there's two kinds of coaches. There's the friendly coach and then there's the drill sergeant coach. And I think that sometimes I'm hoping that maybe we don't see it, but I'm really hoping that McDaniel can be both or has because players respond to different things. Like Tua obviously responds to the friend coach line and the buddy, but like I think some of the defensive players kind of need you to be a little more drill sergeant-y with them, So I just hope that he fluctuates there. But I think he's what our team needed. I think that I think his play calling is improving. He's knocking on wood, abandoning the run less. And I think he's what we needed. And I don't think that anybody should like press panic or anything. I mean, look, in the 2 seasons that he's been here, we're making the playoffs, both seasons. So that's an improvement from all the other coaches that we've had. And, it's just a matter of, do we win this playoff game this year?
I think you said it perfectly. First off, FINS is in the house. He said the beauty to my beast. And he, he says, of course, that with the question, and when he pops in, and FINS, I don't know where Fish Tank is. I have to message him after the show. But I
have Fish Tank, Hank. I just
she switched. But Dahl was kind enough to save the day and pop in here with me. And you're always welcome. You don't really need an invite because you would just pop in anyway. But
you gotta drop.
I think
the rule.
I know. See, next time I know if somebody's not gonna pop in, if I know it's like I got 1 minute left and I'm not here, I'm just drop a link to
it just says drop a link and like
that's it. Drop a link. We'll work on a shirt. But no, I think you said it perfectly. It's true. I mean, he is what this team needed. He is really what the fan base needed, but really what Tua needed.
Yep.
Tua was a shell of himself, and obviously to get the best out of him, you got to put him in an environment where I hate to say these type of words, but feels safe and he could be himself, and he can make a mistake and he can learn from that mistake without getting berated, and and grow as a quarterback, and should been shown love. And he's obviously excelling in that environment, but where you're right as well, because hey, credit McDaniel, 2 years in a row, this team's in the playoffs. Credit, I've now read the FINS earlier this week, Florida State. Oh man, 4-2-3-2-3.
I don't care about Florida State. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's why somebody says, "Oh, Florida's at my kids." They don't understand. Daddy, are you ready for Florida State? I'd say I would never root for Florida State. No, they're like the Jets to me. I can't. No, I can't do it. But it's right too. Offensive players love that. The fans love it. But some defensive players, some may love it, but others want that kind of. And that's why I think it's important for McDaniel, and it was important to go get somebody like Fangio, somebody who is way different than his personality that's on his staff, that could be that guy for those players, but also command the respect of the offense as well, where if he says, hey guys, if you do this during a game, a defense is going to eat this up. They're going to listen to him. They're going to go, dude, you're on defense. Mind your business. No, they're going to go, oh, crap, this guy knows what he's talking about. So that's one thing where I love the growth of McDaniel was he made the right staff decisions. Because how many people were going off on Butch Berry before the season when we hired him? Because we knew how important this offensive line was. And people, when they hired Butch Berry, they're like, look what he did in Denver. Look at the guy's a joke, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. Look at the job he has done, Butch Berry himself, with that offensive line.
Yep, I think it's getting the pieces together and the learning styles. I know it sounds stupid. It's like we should have Miss Martinez on here. But kids, adults, people respond to different learning styles, teaching styles.
100%.
These are grown men. You need to get through to them in a way. And I think that as long as you have the staff around where, all right, maybe McDaniel doesn't do it, but you got Vic. And if Vic doesn't, you know what I mean? Like you gotta have the pieces. And also let's give McDaniel credit for what he did with Raheem Mostert. Because he had 9 years in the league and under, really 2 under McDaniel. Last year, we really didn't have the pieces. The run game really wasn't what it could be this year. But I mean, that man, I don't know what happened, what changed, but he took a 9-year vet who really had, 18 total in his whole career touchdowns to getting 21 on a season.
Yeah. I think it was 19, 18 total touchdowns in the 9-year career, and then having 20 plus in this season alone. It's crazy the turnaround.
Just the development of Raheem Mostert, I think, needs to be talked about. Like that's credit. That to me is credit. That's fundamental.
I'm back at a bench podcast says I'm a Shula guy. It's so tough for me to get accustomed to McDaniel's style. I agree. I mean, it is. Something even with quarterbacks. I like I'm used to Marino and watching and an a-hole at quarterback. And where he screams at his guys, get in line, get this, get that. And you see, and then you see what the Altua is. But that's just the way it kind of goes, and you just have to hope they get the best out of. She's on our pregame tomorrow with Steve, but Courtney. Oh, okay, sorry. Nice to watch Fins talk today and finally get some sound clear. Oh, shut up. Anyway, Evan, suck up.
We figured out the where's Courtney on pregame. We finally figured that out.
I was gonna ask you. I was like, are you on pregame? Because I know last show you were on with me. You were like, I'm not. Was I?
Apparently, I should assume I'm always on pregame. That's what Dolphins Cersei had taught me.
And now that Courtney's here, don't forget, guys. Well, for those who care, but Courtney cares, I care. The Heat play today against Utah. So if you want to watch a game, catch the Miami Heat versus Utah Jazz today.
Yeah, you guys missed the Rooks took over.
That was a game. What a game that was.
That was
wasn't it? Jovic, I loved what I saw from him. Jamal Cain.
Impressed me. I was like, who? Like, I really know nothing about this man, and he really came out and impressed me. We got Robinson missed some threes that he should have made. But I don't want to talk about it. I forgive him, just like X. He's the X.
Every time I thought of you. Every time I saw, I was like, oh. I was like,
X of the Heat, so it's fine. It's fun. So I did ask Nick Nino's mom if she knew Xavier Howard, and she said she wasn't really close with him. I was trying to get that in. I was like, listen, if you ever speak to him, please let him know. Dawson and I would love to have him on her show.
Oh, I'm glad you finished that. Okay, so I'd love to have him on our show. So
listen, I love Xavier Howard on the field. I don't know the man off the field. I just want to talk about his on-field play. There is
absolutely agree.
Same with
understood.
I don't know them as human beings. I just know them as athletes. I want to talk about their athletic ability. Except Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa and me can talk off the field.
Shared that last show too. I remember now.
Yeah, he has a girlfriend though. So respectfully, when they break up, if they break up, don't wish any ill upon that relationship. But if he finds himself single, at me.
Oh gosh, gotta love. This is great, and I gotta give you kudos. I mean, this is, I don't know how many shows you've done so far, but to hop on here without any prep and anything else, to come on here and the takes you've given, everything, you're doing an awesome job, and I'm excited for you and everything you're doing. So let's do.
As Jason Sanders is to Fitz Stanza.
Gosh. Oh, he's great. And yes, we do have to talk about post game, Evan, New Year's Eve edition. Yes, I've taught her well, Bobby. Yes, okay. And so, yeah, but we'll do post game either way. It doesn't matter. I mean, football's football. We got to get our stuff out. It's just be New Year's Eve edition. I'll have to do a whole special banner and all that. But Courtney, now I know that you are doing pregame tomorrow. You can hold your prediction. I do pregame as well, but I will say my prediction here because I usually do in fish tanking here. So, but let me ask you this, and if you don't have all of it in front of you or can't think of it right now and you want to save it for pregame or get prepped for pregame, that's fine. But what are your 3 keys to secure a Miami Dolphins victory tomorrow?
The biggest key is containing Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Miller?
I had my Miller jersey. I was like redoing my jerseys, and the Miller jersey on top.
That's all right.
Lamar Jackson, containing him, because I really don't think our defense has proven themselves to being able to contain a mobile quarterback. They struggled a little bit last week with Dak, who is not on the same level. Lamar is the Ravens rushing leader. It's
Yes.
not running back, it's their quarterback. So I really think that front line and those linebackers containing and not letting him take off and get these extra yards is probably the biggest key, in my opinion. I think the second is just going to be no turnovers, Tua having a clean game. Don't throw anything risky in the middle of the field, really not preventing the turnovers, fumbles, any of that. And then I think the third key off the top of my head is going to be I'm going with Jason Sanders. I think that there's going to be a lot of field goals kicked.
I like that.
Jason Sanders staying on top and getting the momentum going and not missing. Yes, Dolphins Thursday's right. I will not give you a score prediction because I did that one and only time for the Titans game. We know what happened there. So I no longer am giving score predictions because I'm jinxing the team.
Oh, really? Is that how it goes?
That's how it went.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Interesting. It wasn't everybody else's prediction that the Dolphins were going to win.
I did something out of the norm. I don't normally give score predictions, but I did it, and then bad things happened. So
okay, all right.
It was me playing that universe. I apologize to Dolphin fans.
Shame on you guys. There you go. The reason why we lost the Titans wasn't Miami. It was Dolphin 72. So go berate her on X right now.
Please don't. I already have a lot of Bills fans being really
Oh, that's why I said it. You're used to it already. I mean, gosh, every time I put on X, there's something going on.
Every time I make a valid point or I say something negative about Josh Allen, I get a lot of DMs just about how unattractive I am and how I'm a bimbo, and they really come for your looks when you they can't talk brain with you. They really go. They panic like a 5-year-old in a schoolyard. Trying to stub.
That's when you know you've got them. They start going after looks. It's like, okay, ouch, sticks and stones. Josh Allen still sucks.
You don't have as many touchdowns as Josh Allen, and I'm like, oh, that's because we can run the ball, and they really don't like that comment.
Oh man! All right, so my keys to victory for tomorrow, and of course, we'll get further into this with Finstanza tomorrow on pregame, which will be at 11 o'clock Eastern after Dolphins Thursday's pregame on his channel, which is at 10 o'clock Eastern. So first off, stop the Ravens running game. The Ravens are the number 1 offense in running the ball. Dolphins are 5th in defense in stopping the run. Has to show up on Sunday and prove it against Baltimore. Number 2, containing Lamar Jackson. You brought it up. This won't be easy. In Miami's last 3 games against Lamar, he's rushed over 880 yards and 9 touchdowns. Had over 880 yards and 9 touchdowns passing with 1 interception, and has had over 164 yards rushing with a touchdown on the ground. Last year, in that comeback win by Miami, he had 318 yards in the air with 3 touchdowns and rushed for 119 yards with a touchdown. That's an average of 293 yards and 3 touchdowns a game. If Bradley Chubb, Salt and Pepper, and company can get to Jackson, hit him, contain him, frustrate him, Miami's defense could have itself a day. And then number 3 is balance attack, but run the ball! ! The Ravens are 12th in the NFL at stopping the run. Miami has the 5th best rushing offense. Miami has to out physical Baltimore, which is going to be tough, and start with the run game, run the ball, kill the clock, score, and win the game. And of course, I didn't have it here, but you're absolutely right. Jason Sanders, a Jason Sanders type game again. Field goal, don't overthink it. If you're in that area of the field, kick the ball. If it's 4th down, don't go for it. Don't risk it. Just kick the field goal, get the points, get off the field, let your defense do its job.
Yeah, I think me and Evan were both screaming last game, when we went for it on 4th down instead of kicking that field goal. I was like, whenever we don't get the 3 points and we try to go for more, I'm like, this is the end of the game. It's going to come down to 3 points. It'll always come down to those points. It makes me I scream from the rafters. Just take the points, because any field goal you miss or you don't go for, I think it's going to come back to bite you in the 4th quarter.
You see this very quick.
And it did come down to a 2-point game.
It did. Absolutely. Let's see here. Am I wrong? I thought it was. It don't matter. Either way. All right, so I'll give you my – well, first off, let's see. Aladino, his prediction for the game, he has 30-24 Fins. Chris, she has it 27-24. Aladino, that was going to be my prediction. We have these close predictions all season. I'll tell you mine. And again, I'm happy with either of those predictions, guys. And Chris, I think it could be a close game like that. I think it could be a 3-point game. But again, I'm right with you, Chris. I have it 28-23 Miami. But like I said, I've been struggling because I think that's too much points. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 23-20, 20-17. You know, it's gonna be a physical game. And hey, it might be high. Look what happened last season. But again, the way these defenses are playing, the way these offenses, you know, and especially as Miami won last week, I think Miami kind of sees the formula how to win. You know, you win anyway. Offense, defense, special teams. Complete win last week. I think Miami tries to do that again. Again, I have it 28-23, just based off averages and everything, and the way Baltimore has given up and everything. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a low-scoring game. No prediction on score.
No score prediction. Other than we need to win because the family group chat has already started to blow up. I posted about it a little bit earlier in this week of my Steelers family telling me that the Steelers beat the Ravens this year already, and that the Dolphins better do it because the Steelers did, and therefore the Steelers are then going to be a better team than the Dolphins because they beat the Ravens and we didn't. I can't have this, everybody. I just want the Dolphins. I can't have this. Just like when we play the Steelers, I'm like, if there's one game we can't lose this season, and I've won the family bragging rights for a couple of years now, but I can't have these text messages in my phone. I need the
especially not with this game. If it was an earlier season game, you could live with it because it gets forgotten easily, but not this game.
Not after George Pickens had that stupid 195-yard, game last week. I can't do it. So I just want everybody to know that I just need the Dolphins to get the win so that I can tell the Steelers family, like, okay, cool, you beat them. We did too. That's all.
That's right. Let's see here. They need to win to save Bobby for me. I know. That's Finstanza.
Finstanza did say that he was getting a Jason Sanders jersey, so I'm waiting for that.
He's been saying that since.
Yeah, but he promised it to me, and I feel like the foundation of our relationship shouldn't be based on lies.
Oh, there you go, Evan. There it is. Don't mess it up. Do not mess it up, Finstanza. He's been saying that for a while, so we're holding him to it. He said it since Carolina, since the Carolina game. He was in the store. I remember we went to the team store, and he was talking to the lady about making the jersey, and he was asking me, should I do it here or should I order it online? And I'm telling him, I don't care. Do whatever you want. Do it here. Do it there. And he's like, I'll do it online. And, of course, how many weeks later, I know what he was doing. Slick. I think he said he was going to get a Jason Sanders tramp stamp. He said, I think that's what it was.
I didn't hear that one.
I heard that. He says he's going to get a tramp stamp, show his loyalty, but we'll see. We'll see. I promise by tomorrow. Okay. All right. Everybody, wrap this up. We appreciate everyone watching and tuning in. Big game tomorrow, the 12-3 Baltimore Ravens facing the 11-4 Miami Dolphins. Don't forget, you can catch Dolphin 72 on Dolphins Thirsty for a pregame tomorrow. Be a great show. That'll be at 10 o'clock Eastern on Dolphins Thirsty's YouTube. You catch Finstanza and myself on the Miami Dolphins pregame show on FINS Sports Network at 11 o'clock Eastern. We'll go, obviously, predictions, keys of the game, inactives, talking it all, and, of course, going around the league to make our weekly predictions. And, of course, post-game tomorrow night as well at 8 o'clock or maybe later. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But until then.
Later, your audience is going to be drunk.
Yeah, I know. But that'll probably be a better show. Might be a better show.
That's true.
But guys, on behalf of Courtney and myself, we appreciate you all for watching. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, fins up. See you next time.